Hello, and welcome to another segment of Smoke Signals. I'm your host for today's show, Lieutenant Chris Taylor from the LaGrange Fire Department. We have a great show lined up today, so you do not want to miss this show. Our special guest for today is Dr. Gaylord Lopez, Director of the Georgia Poison Center. So stay tuned, because you're about to watch Smoke Signals.
Hi, my name is Rachel and I'm a flight nurse with AirEvac Life Team. I'm here to talk to you today about helmet safety. Whether riding a bicycle, motorcycle, or ATV, it's always a good idea to wear your helmet. Helmets not only prevent serious brain injury, they may just save your life. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, bicycle helmets are effective 85 to 88% of the time in preventing brain injury. For motorcycle riders, helmets prevent death 29% of the time and are 67% effective in preventing significant brain injury. In Georgia and Alabama, all bicycle riders age 16 and under are required to wear a helmet. Motorcycle riders in both states are required to wear a helmet at all times. Make sure when purchasing a helmet for bicycles, it has the Consumer Product Safety Committee sticker on it, or CPSC sticker. All motorcycle helmets should have a DOT approved or Department of Transportation approved helmet. Make sure that your helmet fits properly. It should fit snug but comfortable, should not slide from side to side or up and down. Ensure that it sits level on your head, low on your forehead, and never tilted back. Ensure that your helmet does not have any visible cracks or damage, and that you don't wear a helmet that's been involved in an accident. Helmets involved in wreck can have unseen damage and may not adequately protect you. For more information on helmets, you can visit the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website at www.nhtsa.gov. As emergency medical providers in your community, we see a large increase in head injuries over the summer months, especially those related to bicycle, ATV, and motorcycle accidents. Please wear your helmet. It's not only the law, it's the smart thing to do and might just save your life. Have a fun and safe summer from your Troup County AirEvac Life Team crew.
Welcome back. Today we have with us Dr. Gaylord Lopez, Director of the Georgia Poison Center in Atlanta. Hello, Dr. Lopez. Welcome to the show.
It's great to be back.
I know it is, and you know, I was just thinking about it. It's been almost 3 years or more since we've had you on the show, but it's a pleasure to always have you to come down to LaGrange and share a wealth of information from the Poison Center, and we look forward to having you here in the future.
I'm glad I'm back. Got lots of stories to tell and maybe teach a few tricks to some of those old dogs out there.
I heard that. Well, before we get started, because I know you have a wealth of information to share with us today, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been with the Poison Center, and what your roles and responsibilities are?
Well, I've been blessed enough to be Poison Center Director now, going on my 26th year.
Wow, congratulations.
Thanks. I'm a toxicologist and a pharmacist by training, and as you know, I run one of the busiest poison centers in the world.
Wow. Right
here in Atlanta. In and out of our place go about 180,000 calls, so it's quite a busy department.
I can imagine, and when you talk about call volumes, I mean, I'm quite sure there's never a dull moment every day at your office.
Yeah, every day there are at least 300 to 350 stories to come home, you know, and tell the kids and tell the wife about.
Right.
Because every day is a challenge. People are getting into things, kids are getting into things,
right.
And then there are a bunch of people who unfortunately are trying to hurt themselves. So we keep busy year round, and summer, the season that we're entering now,
right.
is our busiest time.
Okay, and we're going to get into some of those topics, but if you could kind of give us an overview of the Poison Center and some of the services that you all provide to the communities.
We're a very unique poison center. There's about 53, 54 poison centers in the country. There's one right here in Georgia, and it's an accredited and certified center.
Okay.
Now, what do we do on a 24-hour basis? If you look at a 911 center, that's what we are. We're a 911 center for poison emergencies.
Right.
So we have very unique people answering the phones. It's not AT&T operator number 12 or 13. These are nurses, doctors, and pharmacists who are answering the hotlines.
Okay.
So whether it's a hotline call into the center, or we've been offering this, for the first in the country to do this, or a web chat or an email, those calls get answered in real time by these people. And when was the last time you went to your doctor and got free advice? You know, you usually have to show your insurance card first.
Right.
When you call us, you'll get doctors and toxicologists like myself who will give you free advice around the clock. So with these trained professionals, we're there ready to answer your web chats or your phone calls as you talk about the kids that get into poisons, the adults that get into poisons, and the pets who get into poisons.
Right. And you know, that goes without saying, because when you talk about, you know, children and pets, you know, a lot of times they get into things because they have no idea what they're getting into.
Right, and that's one of the most common things that we see is, you know, children are unaware of what they're getting into, whether it's medicine, prescription, or over the counter. Our pets find things laying around. I've got 2 dogs myself.
Right.
They get into everything. So it's mainly kids we get called about. In fact, over 50% of our calls involve the pediatric population. And as you could well imagine, they're curious, they're wanting to know more about their environment. More importantly, they're mobile. And then right after that, a lot of the poisons they're getting into are within easy reach.
Yes.
And that's one of the problems that we see in terms of risk factors is poisons within easy reach of these kids. And that old saying that you know, all of us should practice better is keep things up and out of the reach. Unfortunately, it gives me job security.
Right.
Because people still are a little negligent at home.
Yes.
We're forgetful. And these pets and these children are getting into things.
Yeah, and it's sad, but you know, the thing is, we got to continue to educate the community and put that awareness out there so that they understand that, you know, these are things that are very important to us, and they need to take the necessary proactive measures to make sure that they protect themselves and their families and their pets.
That's a great point, Chris, because here's the thing. As busy as we are as a poison center, you know, one of the busiest in the country, there's still a lot of people who don't know we exist. There are new parents, you know, that are here every day. There are people who've never used us before, don't even know what our capabilities are. And because of that, they're missing out on a really great resource.
Right.
So around the clock, we need to let people know, 1, a poison center exists, 2, we're available 24 hours around the clock, and 3, we're a toll-free call and we're free.
Yeah.
So talking to a healthcare professional free around the clock, we got to let our viewers know that this valuable service funded by state dollars and federal dollars exists in our state, and it's open to everyone.
Okay, good point, good point. Now, let's talk about some of the other common calls that you all receive at the Poison Center, and some statistics that you may have even for our area here in the LaGrange County area.
Yeah, when you look at the most common calls across the board, we break it down into drugs and non-drugs. When you look at the things that are non-drug related, the top 3 items are going to be household cleaners, personal items like personal hygiene items that we might find in our bathrooms, cosmetics and makeup and mouthwash and things like that.
Right.
And third, surprisingly, plants. They're in our houses. They're within easy reach of a lot of our animals and our children.
Right.
So those, you could well imagine, are the top 3. When it comes to drugs, the drugs that are most popular that people get into, number 1, pain medication like acetaminophen containing products, aspirin, ibuprofen, so analgesics, number 1. Number 2, cough and cold preparations.
Yes.
Now, the reason why that's a popular thing, when you look at like the summer that we're getting into, people are getting into allergies and taking antihistamines and things like that.
Exactly.
Very popular you know, item. And then when you look at third, surprisingly again, vitamins. Very popular. So when you look at drugs and non-drugs, those are the top drugs we get called about. Now, when you look at the overall numbers, I mean, the Poison Center, we handle thousands of calls in these areas. In fact, when you look at the calls we get that rank far above any other calls, it's household cleaners. You know, we get, you know, at least I think we got 11,000 calls related to household cleaners. And why household cleaners? They're readily available. And where do we store them? Probably under our kitchen cabinets.
Bathrooms.
And who's able to get into that rather quickly?
Children and pets.
Absolutely. So that's why household cleaners are a big deal for us.
Okay. And, you know, something else that you mentioned earlier, you talk about people hurting themselves. And let's kind of talk about that, because I'm quite sure you probably get calls on that where people have indirectly overdosed or may have overdosed where, you know, trying to commit suicide and things. And let's talk about that a little bit, because, you know, we run into that a lot too here in our community, and people need to be aware of, you know, taking certain things could be life or death.
Yeah. Let me start off by talking about the type of calls that come in. The good news is nearly 9 out of every 10 calls that we get, we can manage at home. So the good news is one of the things that we do best is prevent the unnecessary ER visit.
Okay.
Now, of the remaining 10%, 12%, those are the calls that require a little bit more work, and a number of those are the intentional suicides or someone not remembering that they've taken their doses already. You know, people who aren't trying to hurt themselves, who might have taken their afternoon blood pressure medicine, their heart medicine, and then all of a sudden forgetting they did it, and then doubling or even tripling up on the dose.
Right.
So we have a number of patients who we send in where they're not trying to hurt themselves, but then unfortunately there are a few thousand calls that we get every year where people are taking 50 of this, 50 of the other. And what are they taking? They're usually taking things like over-the-counter pain medicines like acetaminophen containing products, aspirin containing products, and many of them are taking their sleeping pills, their antidepressant pills, and every now and then we get these people who are doing these really poisonous things like radiator fluid, windshield wiper fluid, and in fact in Georgia, you know, we've had a couple of Black Widow cases where someone has intentionally poisoned their loved one with radiator fluid. And antifreeze is one of the most toxic things that we have around the house.
Yes.
Another one that's really toxic in just a small amount is windshield wiper fluid. And I don't know if you remember, but windshield wiper fluid in as little as a teaspoonful can cause blindness. Did you know that?
Wow. No, I did not know that.
If you took 1 teaspoonful of that and we didn't treat you with an antidote, you possibly could go blind.
Wow.
If you were a child and you took 1 tablespoonful of radiator fluid or antifreeze, that could shut down your kidneys and you would die also. So there are poisons that are very incredibly toxic in the home, and a lot of us are just unaware.
Yes.
So that's why we're so valuable of a service. Call us if you're worried about someone getting into one of these things, and we'll be able to help you. Also, these people who are trying to hurt themselves, they're calling into us, and oftentimes we're connecting them with other helplines, but when it comes to managing that poison in the ER, doctors are on the line with us so that we can give them the most correct therapy to minimize that patient stay and to get that patient back home.
Okay, good deal. And that was some great information. Thank you for sharing that. Now let's talk about, real quick, summertime awareness. I know in our conversation you talked about snake bites. So let's really talk about that, because I know that's a big concern for a lot of people.
Summertime, people are out and about. In fact, it's our season for bite and stings. Not only snakes, but people also call us about caterpillars, ants, spiders, brown recluse, black widow spiders, very dangerous spiders, and of course snake bites. For whatever reason, Georgia is the second leading state in the Southeast behind North Carolina in terms of snake bites.
Wow.
Annually, we approach anywhere from 300 to 400 calls involving snake bites every year. In fact, I was looking at the statistics. 2013 was our busiest snake bite season.
Wow.
Last year alone, we handled 416 snake bite calls. Now, that is a lot of snake bite exposures. Now, through the middle of June, we're on a pace to even break that record. In fact, From January to June last year, we only had reported 106 cases. Now that's a lot. Already January through June this year, we're at 145.
Wow.
So we are on
snake
pace
bite.
to break even last year's record-setting year where we've had snake bite calls. And so things like copperheads and rattlesnakes and moccasins, those are the ones that we're getting called about. And what better place to learn about this information than the Poison Center? Because as you're aware, there are a lot of things that we should do, and there are a lot of things we shouldn't do. In fact, I'll tell you what the most common antidote for a snake bite call is.
Okay.
Right here. Car keys.
Wow.
Don't try to do anything at home. Get in your vehicle or have someone drive you or call, fire and rescue, because car keys is going to be your best therapy.
And that's a good point to make, because getting to that definitive care is very, very important.
Right, and for us, one of the problems we see is people going to maybe the internet, people relying on old wives' tales to get them through one of these things. And there are a lot of safety tips we want to make your viewers aware when it comes to snake bites. For example, number one, never do any cutting or sucking. You could possibly ruin and cut tendons, so that's not good. Two, the sucking part, there are kits that kind of suck out the venom, but the thing is, it only takes a drop of venom for you to be seriously ill.
Right.
You may be able to take out 10 drops, but all that's needed is 1.
Okay.
So don't try to suck it out. Next thing that people aren't aware, don't put a tourniquet. Sure, it works in the John Wayne movies,
Right.
but not in the world of snake bites. In fact, you could even risk more damage to limbs if you use a tourniquet. And then another one that people are sort of not aware of, don't put ice on the area. Now you would think you would use ice because of the swelling,
Right.
but you know what ice is actually shown to do? Speed the transit of that venom through your system. So don't use ice.
Okay.
Get in a car, get someone to drive you, get straight to the hospital. We'll be able to tell whether or not you need the antidote or just need watching.
Okay, good. Great information, especially about snake bites and summertime stings and things of that nature, because those are things we definitely have to be aware of.
We do, and this is the time where we're going to get them. I mean, we even get calls about bee stings and wasps, so have your viewers know. Call us at the Poison Center. Poison specialists are on the line, ready for that call. Don't rush into the ER. We'll be able to save you your copay and hopefully keep that patient at home.
Good deal. All right. Well, you have just provided us with a wealth of information, but we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to have more here on Smoke Signals. Welcome back. We've been here talking to Dr. Gaylord Lopez of the Georgia Poison Center, and he's been provided us with a lot of great wealth of information involving the types of calls and incidents that they respond to just by telephone. And we're going to have him talk about some other important things that is very passionate to them at the Georgia Poison Center. Now let's talk about medications. Let's talk about some do's and don'ts with medications.
Yeah, first and foremost, keep things up and out of the reach. Number two, keep these products in their original container. Many times when we get called about these products, we want to make sure we're dealing with the medicine that it states on the label.
Right.
But if you're like my mom, or if any of our viewers are like my mom, we tend to combine our medicines because we know we need to take the red one, we know we need to take the blue one, and we know we need to take the white one. But when someone gets into the medicine and they get unknown amounts of pills, especially if it's a grandchild or a niece or nephew who might be over. We don't know which ones they got into.
Right.
So keep things in their original container. Number 3, always check the expiration date on your products, and make sure you don't keep some of these drugs that you've been using. Don't keep them around. Either bring them back to the pharmacy and get them disposed there, or dispose of them in the home setting where you double bag it, throw it in your trash can, and get rid of it. Because people tend to hoard their medicines, maybe for a rainy day, or maybe for someone else in the home, and that's where it could be dangerous, especially if someone might have an allergy. Medicines are one of the leading things we get called about on a daily basis. So whether it's vitamins, or whether it's your antidepressant pills or your sleeping pills, make sure you keep them up and out of their reach, because these things can be dangerous. And these products, as I said, can cause lots of problems. You're looking at people who are taking blood pressure medicines, very dangerous.
Yes.
You may not know there's a blood pressure medication where the active ingredient is verapamil, and oftentimes goes by the brand name Kalan. One of those pills can kill a child. So people need to make sure, if they're on blood pressure medicine, if they're on heart medicine, if you've got kids around or grandkids around, make sure those products are up and out of the reach. The next thing, as an adult, don't just leave these medicines on the nightstand for for you to take, because oftentimes we'll try to remind ourselves, oh, I'll put these 2 pills out on the dresser, and then that will be a reminder, I got to take it. Well, if you leave them out for someone, they may think it's candy. They may think it's not medicine, and take it. And every day we handle those kind of cases. So people need to make sure that they keep their medicines up and out of their reach, get rid of any expired meds, and make sure they keep these pills in their original container.
Okay, good information. Now let's talk about household product awareness, because that's another issue that you all run across as well.
Yeah, one of the things that we want to try to tell parents is, don't store these things within easy reach of kids. Now, if you do, especially for our new parents out there, make sure that you go to a big box store and buy those cabinet locks, those drawer locks, so that if a little child is at eye level and gets underneath the kitchen sink, that they just can't easily open that cabinet to get those chemicals.
Right.
Because there are things that burn. For example, if you remember your old chemistry, we have nothing but acids and bases in our cabinets.
Yes.
For example, a very strong acid, a lot of people don't know, toilet bowl cleaner. That can burn through skin and cause severe damage. One that's a base, if you remember your bases, Drano is the classic household product that can kill. So these things, think about it. Anyone who's watching today, think about where their Drano is, think about where their toilet bowl cleaner is, and if they can easily get to it, a kid can easily get to it. We have other products like laundry detergents. One of the big fads right now is using laundry pods. Those little Tide pods, Purex pods.
I use them at home.
These things look very attractive to kids. Why do kids get into them? Because they look like candy, they smell like candy. We unfortunately in Florida had our first death in the country due to a kid biting into one of these pods, colorful, and thought it was candy. So we have to make sure we keep our laundry products and our household cleaners up and out of the reach, and lock them behind cabinets.
Okay.
Plain and simple.
All right, good deal. Now, this next topic that we're going to talk about is probably one of the most sensitive topics to you and very important. Synthetic drug problems and target groups of these synthetic drugs.
Yeah, when you look at stats across Georgia, the use of illicit drugs is not just a big city, issue. It's all over in big cities and small towns and small counties. One of the problems that we're now seeing, though, is not a lot of cases about the true cocaines and the true marijuanas. It's the fake stuff. It's the synthetic stuff. It's stuff that synthetic and what I call dorm room chemists are doing. And that is manufacturing products that have similar effects to marijuana, similar effects to amphetamines, and similar effects to cocaine. For example, spice and K2 and those products, synthetic marijuana.
Yes.
Used to be, you know, you can get these at gas stations and whatnot. Thank goodness there's legislation.
Right.
But guess what? There's still a market for people who want that stuff. Why do they want it? Number one, because it produces a high 10 to 20 times stronger than marijuana. And number two, it's not detectable. Laws are very often written, you know, late in the game, and we're always chasing these guys in terms of trying to get them, you know, behind bars. Bath salts, sort of the synthetic cocaines, again, available as not for human consumption products or as incense. And these things are incredibly dangerous. These things are oftentimes snorted or injected and can cause lots of problems. And then one that's hit the club scene of late in the last couple years, Molly's. Again, an amphetamine product, but here's the thing about Molly ingestion. And I was looking up data. Fortunately, Troup County and surrounding counties here, we're not getting a lot of calls. In fact, this year we've only had one call about amphetamines like Molly. But the problem is people are thinking they're getting pure ecstasy or pure MDMA, when in fact some of these Molly pills have just caffeine, have sugar in them, or if they're lucky, it has some potent chemical, and it's almost like going on a Halloween treat. You don't know what you're gonna get. And in the right person, this wrong drug can kill, and it has killed. Fortunately, in Troup and surrounding counties, we have not had that level of involvement with these synthetic drugs like we have in other counties in the state. But synthetic drugs is a major problem. Something that's new on the market that may very well be coming to the United States is this synthetic heroin. It's cheaper. People can find out these recipes on the internet, but what's happening is these people who are using the synthetic heroin are running into extreme side effects like crocodile skin, and their skin starts eating away. So people need to be aware that synthetic drugs is a problem not only in our youth, but in adults as well.
Okay, great information, and definitely I hope our viewers are taking heed to this information and knowing you know, how important it is to understand the magnitude of these synthetic drugs and how they can be very dangerous to our youth as well as to adults. Well, Dr. Lopez, you gave us a lot of great information today, and we really do appreciate that. Now, what will be your final awareness message for our viewing audience today?
Ways to contact us. Toll-free numbers they can use around the clock, 800-222-1222. So basically 3 2s on either side of a 1.
Right.
And then easily on the web at georgiapoisoncenter.org, all spelled out. Call us, chat with us, email with us. Our poison specialists around the clock will be there to help your viewing audience on any question. It doesn't matter what the question is, about a chemical, about a medicine, about an over-the-counter drug. Call us. We've got professionals ready and willing to help.
Okay, good deal. Well, thank you for that information and that number for our viewing audience. And we'd like to thank you, and as well as Dr. Lopez, for being on our show. Thank you for viewing another segment of Smoke Signals. Until next time, take care.